What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mind, Muscle, Mission podcast, brought to you on the NFM Podcast Network. I'm your co-host, Ben Monnette. This other guy who's not in Kit, Christian. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Dude, I'm alive and breathing. I like to say that. I think I say that pretty much every time now that we start. But
Yeah,
it's a proper response. How you doing? I'm alive and I'm breathing. So it's a good day. I guess that's all that really matters, right? Sun is
yeah,
shining.
absolutely.
Finally, it's taken long enough. It's been cloudy as all heck here past few days. So
Yeah, and this will be aired well past the Nashville Fit Expo, but that's coming up, and I know you guys are busy doing that, and it's going to be great. Sad that I won't be able to come up to to see that, but nonetheless, I look forward to hearing how it all went. I know it's going to be spectacular. So thank you and the NFM team for taking the time out of the day to meet with this amazing organization, Wounded Warrior Project. We're here with Carly and Melvin just to give a background of what Wounded Warrior Project is doing now and how they're supporting our veterans and our initiative. So I think that's an amazing thing. So thank you, Carly and Melvin, for again taking the time out of your day to join us on this podcast.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you.
perfect. Okay, so Melvin, we'll kind of jump straight into what you're doing. Like, give us your backstory, just kind of what initially got you involved, what your relation to the services, and then what led to you working with and volunteering with the Wounded Warrior Project. So let's just kind of make it easy, nice, and dive on in.
Okay. Sergeant Melvin Gatewood, retired U.S. Army, raised in rural Mississippi, come from a family full of veterans. My mom, she was a social worker, well, still is a social worker, so she always pushed education. And I knew education was important, but I wasn't just ready to jump right into school. So I joined the Mississippi Army National Guard. I still remember talking to both recruiters. I talked to the active duty recruiter, and then I talked to the National Guard recruiter. The National Guard, he was more like, man, if you just want to get your feet wet. I'll say National Guard first, and then you could come home after basic training, and then you could decide if you like someone telling you what to do and and all of that good stuff that come along with that, or if you want to join active duty. So that's what happened. Went to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, 13 Bravo. Enjoyed everything about the experience. Had some friends I met out there from neighboring towns, and just kind of connected with them. And then so after graduation, it was like, okay, came back home to Mississippi. Then I went and saw the recruiter again, and I said, hey, I like to go active. I kind of enjoyed my time in the service, doing basic training and everything. He said, okay, give me 6 months and come back because of your contract. Within those 6 months, we, as a National Guard unit, we got activated to go to Iraq. So I still remember saying, okay, I got my active duty, but I didn't get it in the way that I entailed getting it. My brother and I both signed up for the Mississippi Army National Guard, so both of us got that call at the same time, and we are both my mom's only children, and so we both had to go over there. And I think when we first got the call, how the excitement was, because I still remember being in high school, seeing when 9/11 happened. I'm kind of aging myself. Back in the day, they had the TV in the corner of the
Yeah,
room, and it came on, and we saw what was going on. And I was like, man, so they bring in the fight to us, and that was really the light bulb that went off for me. And I like, okay, we have to do something about this. And so still having families, been around the military, but that was my call. It was like, okay, what can I do about it? And I think it was one of the Marine general that was on TV during that same time, and he was just talking like, "Oh no, they don't do this to on the USA," and he got me hyped behind it. And I said, "Okay, yes, it's time." So that was kind of like my call to action. But just looking over at my mom when we both got that call, it was more so a sadness on her face. It wasn't the same type of enjoyment and the excitement that my brother and I both had, because it didn't hit me until later on when I was injured April 19th, 2005 in a Humvee explosion. And still just like, okay, this is actually this is actually happening, seeing my vision going from straight to upside down. Still remember good friends in the vehicle, Staff Sergeant Tommy Little. He was sitting behind me, um, rendering buddy aid and everything, and just the simple fact of knowing that he wasn't doing well. And I still remember my mom that called home afterwards, and she was like, "I just want to know how you doing." And I told her I was doing fine. And even just thinking about my brother, the look on his face when we got um, back to the fob that night, my arm bandaged and everything, and it was just surreal right then when that happened. I'm appalled because I could be a little long
No,
with
you're good. You're
so
good.
I'm gonna let you answer ask
Yeah.
the question because I don't want to just talk.
No, you're good completely. And well, thank you, Joe, so much for jumping straight into it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know not all the time, especially, it's telling a traumatic story over and over again. They say it gets easier, but it doesn't. I mean, it usually genuinely doesn't every time. But what I know that call of action, especially I would say people that at least remember 9/11. I mean, I joined up in 15, I know a good minute after you gents, but it was still the same memory of 9/11.
Yes.
I remember that very specifically in my head. That's a memory that I'll always replay, and that's something that I'll still remember for the rest of my day, and that's why I joined. So that's probably
Oh yes.
a big difference in today's generation joining these guys and gals joining now to back
It
then.
must have, that's I think a lot of individuals, when they saw that on TV, they can remember where they were at, what they immediately thought. And a lot of people were like, okay, well, not here, right? Not here, not now. And that's something extremely powerful, and that, it united our country
It did.
wholeheartedly. Um, and you went right over. I mean, that was, yeah, 4 years after, but that's like you went right over, and that was when it was, you know, it's been kinetic, right? Well, not now, but for a long time it was kinetic, and that's when it was obviously, very kinetic. And I think when you said I'm fine, I think that's something that we all have been accustomed to say so
Yeah.
many times in our career is, yeah, I'm fine. And it's interesting to kind of reflect back on those times. It's like, well, maybe I was fine, but maybe I wasn't, right? Maybe there's some things that were happening that I, wish I would have known back then that I know now of
Yes.
ways to kind of cope with that. So that's something that, uh, awesome. I love the fact that you jumped right in, and having, you know, both sons go over at the same time. That's gonna be difficult for your mom. Like your mom's a warrior. So that's a very, very much respect to her for holding down and persevering through having two sons over the pond. So kudos to her.
Yeah, and I'm just listening to what you were saying as far as I guess being aware of what saying that we were fine when we weren't fine. I just think about when I came home, and I think it wasn't a lot of 9/11 post 9/11 veterans in the VA system. So a lot of times, a lot of the groups that we were going to, they were Vietnam veterans. And I still remember the conversation that I would have with some of them. Like, man, you need to go ahead and deal with this right now because you don't want to be like me down the line, going through your fourth marriage. Your kids won't talk to you, dealing with alcoholism and things of that nature. So yeah, it's easy. You could tell the people outside of this room that you're fine, but I know you're not fine. And so when he kind of just spoke to me just like that, I was like, well, yeah, you're right. I'm not fine. And I found myself shortly after being discharged coming here to Nashville and going through a residential treatment program with the VA. And that was just it was a great experience because I got a chance to learn more about myself, and that also made me want to actually go and work for the VA, which I'm currently employed with the Department of Veteran Affairs. But
Yeah.
even more so when we started talking about veterans of my era, that's when the Wounded Warrior Project came into the picture. My first event with the Wounded Warrior Project was a Project Odyssey I take that back. It was a soldier ride. I still remember getting off the airplane in Atlanta, had a chauffeur sitting there with my name on this digital board, and like, oh, I was like, Melvin Gatewood, this for me. I said, and I would say every event that I've ever done with the Wounded Warrior Project, like red carpet. So you know what I'm saying. So they really it was a humbling experience because I really like the spotlight like that, but I was in. They were like, you deserve this. This is what we want to do for you. So just the simple fact of getting in the vehicle, going to the spot to meet other veterans, and then as we sit around and we were talking, I'm like, okay, we have similar stories. It made me feel that, okay, not that I couldn't relate to the Vietnam veterans, which I could, but at the same time, these were individuals that were in same areas that I was at when I was there. We could talk about Karbala. We could talk about all the different fobs. And I was like, okay, this is my tribe. Um,
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
and the
I like
crazy
that.
thing about it, when I went to my first event, I actually met a veteran that was actually on my caseload at, as a patient at the VA. So when I saw him and he saw me, and I said, "Yeah, we're still veterans. I have to come and get check in and get tweaked sometime as well." So that kind of gave him that like, okay, that peer moment. As for you're just like I am. Yes, you might work at the VA, and I see you as a patient when I come up there, but you just a veteran just like I am. So I
Yeah.
really
So
enjoy.
what event was that?
It was called a Soldier Ride. It's a
Okay.
event where they send you to different locations. Like I went to Atlanta, and I also went to a Soldier Ride in Florida before, and they have whatever your like some veterans have to be on the recumbent bikes. Like I know a friend of mine, he has a back injury, so he's not on the upright bike. But we went there, and the first day I think we rode about probably 5 to 6 miles. The next day it was a little longer, like 15 miles. But we have little stops that we make along the route just to chat and talk.
Okay.
But just an awesome event. And then you have some individuals like I was supposed to go to the one at the White House where they go around the DC area as well. So they go a lot of places.
I was
That's
gonna
pretty
say the
cool.
DC area Soldier Ride's really popular,
Mhm.
as well as Soldier Ride New York is huge. But these Soldier Rides are a really popular thing, especially with our warriors, and they take place throughout the United
Yeah.
States. So we also have some events that are taking place out in Germany, and
Oh yeah.
we have a virtual carry forward taking place in Germany this year too. So
Must be good.
finally getting national here.
Let's hope they just somebody starts rucking together and they don't start heading towards Poland. Let's just hope for that.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Cool. But I think when you said, we got together and we were able to talk, I think obviously there's probably the primary reason why these rides are take place. And it happens all over the world every week, and there's some place or some opportunity for a veteran to connect with another group of veterans. And sometimes, for me personally, maybe I at this point think it's not as important, and I'm obviously wrong because getting around the like-minded individuals, like you said, Melvin, and people who can relate not just veteran status, but the actual location and the actual experiences, um, is extremely powerful. It gives you that kind of a break, and you're accepted, right? And I think that's something that a lot of veterans need. Um, they may be more reluctant to accept it, but I think they do need it. Getting together with like-minded individuals is always healing and powerful.
And
Yeah.
I think that's a lot easier than, say a guy my age. I know I'm a little bit younger, but then trying to go into a VFW or just anything. You're going to feel like how I probably feel when I go to the VA now. It's like, I'm the youngest dude in this
That's
room
how
by 30 years easily.
yeah.
And so getting out there and doing something active like a bike ride, a run, ruck, walk, it gets you back in there with maybe, like you all said, like your age, your campaign guys.
Yeah, because also every month I'm a peer support group leader here with the Wounded Warrior Project as well. So every month we get together, whether it's at the Mission Barbecue or at the local office, where we have veterans come together just to talk about what might be going on. And it's a very powerful hour and a half that veterans just get together. And even with me as a peer support specialist at the VA, I get a chance to take my hat off and I can just be a regular veteran and just chat with other vets.
Yeah, do you guys have that down here in Chattanooga?
We do.
Do you? All right, look at that. I think there's down here, being obviously biased to the city that I'm at now. I think there's a lot of veterans down here, but a need and an opportunity to connect. So I'll get with you offline. I think that's something that would be a great opportunity to empower and connect some veterans here locally together.
Most definitely.
And I
Yeah,
will
that's
say
awesome.
on that note, Wounded Warrior Project has a much further reach than people even realize. There's support groups that are right in your backyard you don't even know about. That's why we just encourage folks, if you're a post 9/11 veteran, to reach out to WWP and become a registered warrior. And then you get the post, and then you'll be able to
Yes.
figure out about all these events and these support groups that are taking place that, could be right in your backyard, like I said.
That's one of the
And
great things
I think
about
that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
There's so many resources out there, but we just need to inform those individuals that they are. And I think that's one of the backbones of this podcast is to bring on organizations like yourselves to to highlight that, hey, there are things out there, and if this isn't float your boat, then there's other ones. But at least
Exactly.
attempt it and try it, right, and see what's the best best for you and your family. But yeah, it's great. I think that's the first thing is sign up. What's information going to hurt? It's not. It's just going to help, and if you can make it, great. And if you connect, even better.
If there's anyone out there that's a post 9/11 vet that wants to learn more about getting registered as a Wounded Warrior, just 888 or 888 WWP alum is that phone number. They call our resource center and we'll get them hooked up.
Yes.
That's good. We'll definitely put that in the link in bio and all that for the goodness. But Carly, let's kind of go in and let's talk about what you do for the Wounded Warrior Project themselves.
Yeah.
It's a kind of this. If you want to introduce yourself a little bit, go into your background, what got you in, all that fun goodness.
Sure, I'd love to. So I've actually only been with Wounded Warrior Project for a little over a year. I do have a large background in nonprofit work, especially 5Ks. So I was actually hired to focus on our Carry Forward 5K, which I know we'll get into a little bit towards the end. That's where I had the pleasure of meeting Melvin last year. He was our warrior speaker at Carry Forward Nashville. But Wounded Warrior Project as a whole, and kind of just backpedaling a little bit when we were talking about 9/11, started in 2003 as just a grassroots effort to supply care and comfort items to these warriors and veterans that were coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq. It's kind of been an organization that always spoke to me. I have a family full of military, so I had 3 grandfathers, 2 blood grandfathers, 1 step grandfather that were all in the Army. And then I've got a cousin who's currently based in Mayport in Jacksonville. So I work out of our headquarters in Jacksonville, Florida, and it's pretty amazing. Every morning I drive through Mayport to get to the office. So it's kind of like my daily reminder of what I'm doing. And Wounded Warrior Project has 2 critical focuses right now, and we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but physical health and wellness and connection and social connection. I was going to note that nearly 7 in 10 warriors struggle with loneliness. That's one of the big issues we're trying to combat. And if I do throw out any stats throughout this podcast today, it's referring to our warrior survey, which is a huge thing that Wounded Warrior Project puts together each year. Our annual survey is the largest survey of findings for post 9/11 warriors. And the survey represents over 185,000 post 9/11 wounded service members. So we've taken all this information and then come out with all of these statistics. And it's just really a good way for us to identify trends in our wounded service members so that WWP can best serve them. But that's kind of the gist of what I do is mainly Carry Forward, which I know we're going to talk about more, but I'm really proud to work on the Carry Forward team because it offers physical health and wellness, but also that social connection.
Exactly.
And then the last thing I will say is that most of our events and support groups and things like that, we like to protect the identities of our warriors. This is a very personal thing, and if they don't want to be known, then we obviously want to respect that. So the one thing I do love about Carry Forward is it is our one event where the community can come together and meet our warriors and be with them in person and honor them in person. So in Nashville, we had over 2,200 people come out last season, and it's just pretty amazing because a lot of our warriors are either doing one-on-one things like Project Odysseys where they're together, but there's not many opportunities for the community to be with them. So
Oh yeah, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing seeing both y'all up there. I mean, it was I reached out of just getting back in the veteran military community. That was my first time since I moved to Nashville. I got discharged out and I got sent over. So getting involved in being back in that military community, seeing everybody start rolling in, it was truly almost a breath of fresh air. It's like, man, these are my people again. Let's have some fun with this. And of course, it's like 6 a.m. and everybody's grabbing every single energy drink that they could. I mean, right before a 5K, I was like, y'all have at it. But y'all had people going from, plate carriers to moms with their strollers to dudes wearing full armor, like the medieval combat I saw for those guys. I mean, they were fully gone running a 5K, running it. I mean, they ran it. I was like, all the power to y'all, but it was a truly amazing experience to see it. And it was just so much fun. I mean, genuinely, it was just fun.
yeah.
It was fun to watch.
Now, do you guys do those 5Ks in all major cities, like throughout the year, or how does that kind of work out where, if I live on the West Coast, do I still,
Yep.
how does
So
that
we
work?
do. We have 4 city series locations. So our Carry Forward 5K program started in 2018 with a little hiatus, obviously during COVID when there wasn't in-person events. So we're kind of having to rebuild like most large events are. So we have 4 city series locations right now. We always start off in August in San Diego. That's a really beautiful one, right on the water, right by the base. And so yeah, it's an absolutely beautiful event. And I have the pleasure of going to all 4 of them. So last season I kind of got thrown right into the wolves with WWP when I started. I'd been there like a month and went to all 4 city series events, but we started in San Diego, and then we always do our second event here in Nashville, and that's always based around September 11th, which I think makes that one even more special. This year's will be on September 13th. Our third event is always in October, and that's San Antonio, and then we drive it home in November in Jacksonville. And so the Jacksonville event this year will be November 8th. That one's generally based around Veterans Day. So we try to keep it around these tentpole holidays. But then what most people don't know is since we only offer these 4 city series, we do have Carry Forward Virtual. We see more registration for Carry Forward Virtual than our city series events because obviously there's way more states that are trying to get involved. But it's the opportunity to register, basically host your own virtual 5K and then get other people to join you. And so you just pick a day when you register and then you get people to come out. You still receive your Carry Forward kit with the medal, your race bib and all the things. So it's an official 5K, but it's just hosted at your home or wherever you decide you'd like to take place in the run.
It's awesome. I think the virtual component, thanks COVID, but I think
Yeah,
that
right.
was something that is, at least it connects us at a larger scale. And being able to do that in a small city that still has a strong veteran presence, patriotic presence, and be a part of a larger movement is amazing. I think that's great. And they still get to feel like they are, participating because they do get the swag and all that fun stuff, and they're big. They're something, a part of something much larger. So I like that. Is that so? You're in charge of that 5K race, and
Yes.
but you guys, the Wounded Warrior Project has a vast amounts of stuff to do that
We
they're
do.
doing involved in, and I think I love the 2 main focus is like the physical fitness health part of it, and that co-aligns with the community and the mental health portion, and both of them is obviously enhances your mental health or strengthens it. Is there any other things that you'd like to highlight that you guys are doing? I mean, you guys, the list goes on and on. There's so many things, but what's like the main focus push for 2025 as we're like midway through, I think almost.
I would say for 2025, well, I think the main focus right now is to highlight, and maybe not highlight, that's the wrong word, but to focus on invisible wounds, because wounded warriors aren't just physically wounded on the exterior. We're putting a big emphasis on mental health and PTSD. But Wounded Warrior Project really right now is offering our warriors that social connection, like I said, and that's through support groups led by our own warriors. And I think I mentioned this earlier before we would have been recording, but the goal of Wounded Warrior Project is to have that warrior that's on the back in our logo eventually be the warrior on the bottom hosting up another warrior. And so Melvin has kind of transitioned from being a wounded warrior who was in need of our support to supporting others by being a peer support group lead. And then through mental health support, we have Project Odyssey, which I think Melvin could touch on a little bit more since he's been involved with that program. Physical health and wellness support. So Soldier Ride we touched on, but we also have a massive physical health and wellness team that just offers training in physical health, rehab, as well as adaptive sports. And then lifelong care support is a big thing for WWP as well, helping all of our warriors just set themselves up for the future. And then finally, another thing I think you could touch on, because I think you have been involved before, but we do a lot of financial wellness support for our warriors, and we have a great program called Warriors to Work. And I think that you've been involved with that. Have you done
Yes.
Warriors to Work? Yeah.
Yes, I've done Warriors to Work. During my time with the VA, I actually left. I have a degree in criminal justice with a concentration in emergency management and homeland security. So I left the VA to go and do something with federal law enforcement, and it ended up not being a great fit for me. So I ended up coming back to Nashville, and at that transition point, I was like, okay, where do I want to do different? So I reached out to WWP, and they connected me with a resume writer. They even gave me a new suit for my virtual interview.
They just gave you the top half, no pants.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm wearing shorts right now. Full disclosure.
Don't have to wear slacks today. And just a lot of different just pointers. And I ended up, even though I landed right back at the VA, but I was actually working on the benefits side, but just that program within itself was just awesome. And just to know that they are actually with you every step of the way, just depending on what portion of your life you're needing assistance at that time. They have a great partnership with Centerstone as far as counseling, whether it's one-on-one or whether it's a family dynamic, or even if you have a child who needs counseling, they will help with assisting you with that. Just vast.
And spousal support. There's a lot of spouses that are living on base are now readjusting to civilian life as well when you're no longer living on base. So helping spouses find jobs as well.
I think that people forget how this transition out of the military it's not easy. I mean, it's like, okay, they joke, oh, it's like leaving, you're leaving you're leaving the military life, going to civilian. One, a lot of these guys joined at 18.
Yes.
And imagine you do your 20. You didn't live a single day as a civilian until you hit 20. That's a culture shock in and in itself. And that also means your spouse didn't live a day as a civilian. They're used to jumping around every 5 minutes, not being able to hold on to a friend because they either leave or one day it's like, hey, bye, sorry, we're leaving next week.
Yeah.
Or just the emotional trauma of, oh, they're doing a workup. Wait, why are they going to NTC? What's going on with this? Okay, it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's just another thing. And then try, like, these guys and gals getting out, even if they did their 4, trying to find a job after.
Yes.
Like, I think, from what I saw in the past, is having that military on your resume nowadays does not equate to what it used to mean. And I think you have to have that piece of paper degree, and you have to have this, or it's just out in the vast. Or these guys and gals don't know what they want to do. They maybe want to transition. You get an infantry guy, Marines, Army, whatever, and they go in and it's like, well, crap, this didn't translate really. Okay, I guess I'll go be a cop. I guess I'll go do security, and they never figure out these dreams that they.
And that's the great thing about the Wounded Warrior Project. They are partnered with so many different organizations that are probably looking for veterans, so they can tell you what best. Okay, Melvin, this is your background. We're going to partner you with this organization. So that was in my situation, that will help me out, especially with my job coach.
That's what I was just going to say too. I feel like that stigma, and I'm speaking just on behalf of my short time with WWP, but I feel like the stigma of having military on a resume is going away a little bit, and we've done a really great job. That's one thing I encourage any companies that are looking to fill jobs, as well as any like resource centers, whether it's mental health support, physical health. If they're looking to get more clients or people that want to get involved, they can visit WWP and become an approved resource or an approved job. So anyone that's looking to hire our Warriors to Work program, then can go pull this list of these hiring companies and then refer our warriors to these.
I think that's really important. I think
Why do
that's not only, go ahead, Christian.
No, I'm about to say, why do you think that it's losing? The military is losing its weight in gold. I mean, truly, because it is. I mean, it flat out. In my opinion, it is. From what I've seen, I've talked to a few of my guys that have got out. Why do y'all think it's losing it a little bit?
If it's an individual that's still in like the National Guard or Reserve, I've heard some employers saying, okay, well, yes, it's a great thing that this individual is serving, but based off of them having to be off on 1 weekend out of a month, 2 weeks out of a year, this might be a conflict with the job that I'm going to hire them for. It's sad to hear that, but I've heard some veterans say that. But even with that being said, I still see more companies that are still willing to hire veterans because of our discipline.
Yeah.
I
Because,
was just going to say that.
yeah.
I just talked to a company last week, and they're like, just the structure that you go
Yes.
through,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that translates to the workforce.
sure.
Yeah.
I think it's people understanding it. Once you get employers like that who understand it a little bit more,
Yes.
it's just so much more helpful because it does, having that discipline behind a job does help. I mean, just exponentially. I mean, it really does. I think it's a crazy world nowadays. I mean, it's post 20, I think we all talked about that. 2020, COVID kind of killed everything, and the world's on a weird reset that's going to take another probably 5 years to a decade to figure itself out.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Well, let's take a quick little break real quick, and then we'll come back. We'll dive a little bit more into, the Wounded Warrior projects, work with businesses. I think that's really important to know and to note. And I'd love to hear more about Melvin, your experience, and you felt so inclined to give back, right, and to be that the soldier lifting someone else up after you were lifted up. So let's take a quick break, and we'll dive right back into it.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back. We are joined here by Carly and Melvin, and we just want to thank y'all again so much for coming out. It's been a great talk so far. So when we left right before the break, we were talking about businesses joining up and hiring into the veteran community, or these soldiers, Marines, sailors, airmen, all of them that are getting out. Melvin, kind of, what did you like? How was your process in joining everything, getting in?
It was just thinking about how I use Warrior to Work. I heard about the program, but I was already hired at that time and I was working at the VA. But when I left the VA and then I was coming back trying to find out what what new job opportunity that I want to do, I had the opportunity to actually use Warriors to work for myself. So getting with that job specialist and them coaching me up on what to look for, what to say in my interview, the resume writer and everything that helped me. So I looked at it at from one point, yes, I got employed, but at the same time, those same warriors that I'm seeing at my meeting, when they say, well, I don't know if this program is actually going to work, I can say I actually used it. So it's one thing to say, to tell someone about a program, but to say I have actually benefited from this program and this is what it did for me. And often I also have to tell individual, yes, we have programs, but at the same time, you have to do your part as well. So that plays in.
We can't just write your resume
No,
for you.
no.
Hey, that's
No.
that's
I
the
love
that's,
that.
that's that new generation right now. They got everything comes like that.
GPT.
Oh, ChatGPT or resume. I will say I've done that before, and it's very helpful.
It's scary.
I like that. I
right.
like that, Melvin. When you said that, is like you're gonna have to put in the work, and
Yeah.
that's with anything. Like you can give the resources, you can provide the paths, but you're gonna have to do the walk and have to do the work. 100%. And I think that you know businesses, I believe, want to hire veterans, right?
Yes.
And I think they might be reluctant. They may have had a bad experience with that, and in incorporating or using Wounded Warrior Project as a business to be like, hey, I know who I'm going to get. I know I'm going to get a prepared individual. I'm going to get someone who understands the process, who's going to be able to have practice his resumes, practice his interview, techniques and whatnot, is something that should, I guess, in theory, give a little bit more confidence to the business that hey, I know if I go through Wounded Warrior Project searching for employees, I know what I'm going to get. Right, I'm going to get someone who has done the work, has put in the work, and has done the you know the ability or have the ability to uh, conduct an interview and had some repetition. So as a business, if I owned a business and I was like, hey, I want to hire some veterans, which I probably obviously will, it'd be a good opportunity to use, Wounded Warrior Project as kind of like as an outsource, an opportunity to get to reach a lot more veterans that want to work and want to be in that specific field. So I love that fact. I think it's great.
Yeah, and I was going to say when you asked why I think that maybe the stigma is going away a little bit about having military on the resume is just the amount of interest we're seeing in becoming a Warriors to Work referral.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of companies that want to get listed so that we can send our Warriors their way. So
Fantastic. Even better. Even better. Yeah, and we're kind of talking what's going on with the vest. Need to know. I need to know. I need to know the plate carrier. I know the Nationals getting dangerous, but what's going on?
So I call this a recovery vest. So on the recovery vest, you will see names and you also see conditions. On the right side, you see names of individuals that I lost while in service, or individuals who meant something to someone else, soldiers or Marines or just warriors. Someone came up to me and they were like, "Hey, I served with." This gentleman, will you put him on your vest? Will you wear? But these actual individuals, I knew them personally. Also, I do ruck marches around the country. I was just in New York, had a chance to go down Times Square and do a ruck march. So when I'm doing my ruck, therefore we're military, so we know what rucking is if you Marines hiking. So so some people call
I think we call those taking a walk. I don't know, those Army rucks aren't really rucks, but I'll take a nice gentle walk for y'all.
Okay,
I'll let you catch
Love
up.
that.
So I say that this is more so the way that's symbolic. So they ask you, Melvin, what are you carrying? Sometimes I'm carrying grief. Sometimes I'm carrying PTSD. Sometimes I'm carrying anger. Sometimes I'm just carrying something that I've heard another fellow veteran say that they're carrying. But when we get other veterans out there walking with us, at the end, we want them to take off that ruck and we want them to put it down and we want them to shed depression. and we want them to throw that down, and we want them to get more tangible resources. We want to talk to them about the Wounded Warrior Project. We want to talk to them about Creative Vets, or all the different resources that are out there for them. And primarily, I like talking about resources that I personally use. And so some might come out and say, well, Melvin, I don't need any resources. Just being out here with another veteran, walking and talking, that was fulfilling for me. So that's what I want to do. So we go around the country raising awareness to veteran suicide and mental health initiative, and just bringing joy, because you'll be surprised, man. I'm always walking in Mount Juliet or downtown Nashville. Had a gentleman come up to me the other week and just broke down crying, and I'm like, what's going on? He said, I see you out here. I know what you're doing it for. I never served, but I dealt with cancer, and I went through chemo, and that's one of the toughest times I had in my life. And I want to just thank you, because seeing you walking down the road with this flag, it encouraged me. And I was like, whoa. So that hit me to know that this movement that I'm on is more than just about veterans, but it's about people, because we all are dealing with something. We all carry something. So we want to tell people, especially veterans, we don't have to carry PTSD and depression as badges of honor. We can still thrive to be great fathers, great brothers, husbands, because they need us. We dealt with that battle from afar, but now we're dealing with battles when we come home and when we close our eyes at night. But thankful to organizations like the Wounded Warrior Project, I have gotten to a better place in life to even start my own nonprofit. But if it wasn't for the resources and the people who were in my circle, I could have been easily a statistic.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh man, that's all right. Done. We're done for today. That was perfect. Like, that was
Mic drop.
well done. Well said. Like nothing but the truth right there, Melvin. 100%. Agree with you on all aspects. Good job. I like that.
It's perfect. And I think what you were talking, I keep hearing this, in different episodes that we do. I keep hearing this mental health aspect. I keep hearing that. It's honestly insane how much more mental health is being reasoned with. Even I would say post 9/11, with like the WWP helping with this mental health. I think it's progressing so much more every single day. Like now, seeing different thing with just TBI. I mean, heck, what 5 years ago, none of us really wondered about TBI with combat-related stress. It's just kind of, oh, my ears are ringing. It's a fun thing. That's just a normal thing. So it's crazy that y'all are actually finding all these and connecting all these resources, and especially getting health and wellness back.
Yep. And the warrior survey is really like where we're able to gather all that information. It wasn't until we started to get more warriors and taking in 185,000 warriors surveys. It's super helpful for us to kind of pinpoint where we need to be. And it's like, I feel like before we were helping our warriors survive, and now the goal is not to just help them survive, but to help them thrive.
Yes, yes. And we even think about this being the month of May, Mental Health Awareness Month, but mental health awareness is every day. People, and the stigma is real. And I think in these type of settings, and on your podcast, people can find out that they're not alone, that it's other veterans out there that have been through depression, have been through PTSD, but we can tell them or show them the roadmap to get the resources so they can get to a better place in life.
Oh, for sure.
You just got to put in the work.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And when you said that, it just really, we have so many resources available to us as post 9/11 veterans, but we often hear people say, veterans like ourselves, oh, there's no one out there helping us. There's no one out there doing. Well, let me show you this organization. Let me show you what the Wounded Warrior Project is doing, not just for me, but for other veterans. The data doesn't lie. So,
They're just like groping. They're just like just grinding and complaining and whining about things. So, again, that's just the truth, the reality behind it, which is an unfortunate thing. But I know that y'all are, Carly, I know y'all are trying to really fix that. I mean, at least it's trying to get people back in the right mental state and health point, but just with all the physical aspects. I mean, I know we've touched on mental plenty, but what are y'all doing physically besides like the 5K?
Well, 5K, and then of course, obviously, we touched on Soldier Ride, but adaptive sports is a really big part of Wounded Warrior Project as well, and that kind of goes in a bunch of different directions because it's really catering to the need of the warrior, and whether it was a sport that they played prior to their service or afterwards, but making sure they can still continue playing that sport. This is just specific to Jacksonville, but we have a warrior team that plays at the Iceman's Center, the hockey team.
Oh, yeah.
So we have a whole warrior hockey team, but just making sure that no matter what the disability may be post service, that they can still continue doing the sport that they love. So adaptive sports is a really big arm of Wounded Warrior Project as well. And like Melvin mentioned, all these resources are very clearly outlined on our website. So I definitely want to plug that towards the end or have it as a link so you can go online, find out about all these specific resources we offer, and then also if you're post 9/11, register to get involved.
Yeah.
For sure. And as we're starting to kind of wrapping up and finishing out, is there anything else that y'all really want us to touch on? I mean, just surely just get out of there because it's a great way just to speak it. I know that y'all are in front of
Well,
thousands of people constantly, but it's just another way to
just
reach out.
really want the community, the Nashville community, surrounding areas, just to come out and really support Wounded Warrior Project carry forward on September the 13th.
Yeah, but I was going to add, I know I mentioned earlier, I've done a lot of 5Ks in my past, but this one I'm telling you is just, it's something different. And I think a big part of the reason why ours stands out so much is because of the concept that we added behind it, and it's Flag Fitness Fierce. So just a quick run through if you haven't been to Carry Forward Nashville, but when you arrive that morning, you go to check in. You obviously, just like most 5Ks, you get your race bib, you get your t-shirt. At the end of the race, you'll get your finisher medal. But one thing that's really special is when you're checking in, they ask you, are you going to participate Flag, Fitness, or Fierce? And what that means is you can decide that morning. And mind you, this is not a timed race, so you can run, walk, ride, do whatever works. Adaptive sports. Yeah. But they will ask you, are you going to participate Flag, Fitness, Fierce? And what that means is that day, whether you're walking, running, however you're going to complete this 5K, are you going to carry a flag? Are you going to do the fitness component where you're going to wear maybe a ruck or add weight to your backpack or add weight to your vest? Or the third option is the fierce option, which is carrying an individual on your back. And that's, again, reminiscent of the WWP logo with the warrior carrying another warrior. But we do have quite a few people that do complete the 5K with someone else on their back. And it's got to be the most just impactful thing I've ever
I'd say that sounds
Yeah.
absolutely crazy. A 5K carrying.
I did a mixture of both because I started off with just the ruck and the plates, and then I had a flag, and at the end I carried my daughter. So yeah,
Oh, nice.
so
About to say,
Did all three.
plates is not enough. I need to embrace this suck a little bit more.
yeah, she got heavy quick.
But even if someone's running across that finish line holding the flag, it just brings tears to your eyes. It's just a really, really amazing event. So I encourage everyone in Nashville to come out September 13th. And I will say, I know I touched on each of the City Series locations. Nashville may not even be the largest. I mean, we have San Diego, which is a huge state. California is a huge state. Nashville blew each of our events out of the water and had the largest attendance of each of our City Series last year.
There's Nashville for you.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So hoping to have the same. And I will note that this year is at Public Square Park. So it's a different location from last year. We've had some changes because Nissan Stadium under construction and all those things. So Public Square Park, September 13th. We hope you all come out.
That construction is causing problems for everybody. Everyone. This is following everyone. But one of our favorite things that we like to do as we close, Melvin, give us, well, both y'all. I'll do both y'all because it's even better. Give me one of your favorite military memories. I mean, that your service memories. That could be the good, the bad, the ugly, the funniest, the most shocking, just whatever like that immediately pops to your mind.
Military memory. When I saw my wife, my soon to be, well, she wasn't my wife at the time, but she had a military plate on her vehicle, and I said, man, this girl is gorgeous, and I have to figure out a way to speak to her. And I said, hey, can you tell me how to join the National Guard? I see you in the National Guard. And then she just let me go on with it. And then from there, it was just golden. And that was truly my best military moment, because we connected because of us both serving in the military. So she didn't see my Purple Heart tag on my vehicle, but we laugh about it often because they like, how did you meet your wife? Hey, it was a punchline for the National Guard.
And Carly, just kind of your most fond memory. I mean, a story from your grandfather's, anything, or just a moment with a service member.
Tons of stories from my grandfather, and I'd say the most impactful memory I have is seeing him come to tears. My grandfather was a really, really strong, tough man, and anytime the national anthem was sung, if we were at a football game or something like that, he was in tears. So just seeing how much that meant to him meant the world to me. But I will say more recently, I just saw a video of Dan Nevins, who's another Warrior speaker of ours. Dan Nevins was reunited with Dan Smee, who's another Warrior of ours. Dan Smee was his medic who saved his life.
Oh,
And
dang.
they hadn't reconnected in years, and they reconnected at Cary Ford, Jacksonville. And so I saw that on video. It was so powerful. It just brought me to tears. And so we're excited because this San Diego, Dan Nevins is our speaker, and Dan Smee is going to come and be a part of it as well. And they're going to reunite on stage. So
No, that's going to be
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's going to be cool. Well, awesome. Well, as we close, I just want to thank y'all again. I mean, truly from the bottom of my heart, everything that y'all are doing for our wounded warriors and for our not just physical wounds but mental wounds like these guys and gals are dealing with. I mean, especially nowadays. And yeah, just thank you guys so much for coming out. And for our listeners, we just want to thank y'all for tuning in for another episode. And we will see y'all on the next one.